Have you ever found yourself in that sort of situation where you are talking to the world's most amazing potential customer? It's absolutely nailed on. You're having the perfect conversation, the relationship, the connection is going amazingly well. They're asking you all the right questions. They seem very comfortable with your price. They're telling you everything about their business and their problems and how you can help them. And all you can see is this is absolutely a cast iron brand new customer. And then poof, a little puff of smoke, and before you know it, this nailed on brand new customer suddenly doesn't want to go ahead, and for the life of you, you cannot understand how that has happened or why that has happened. Well, first off, if it does happen to you, don't panic, because you're most definitely not alone. This is a lot more common than you realise. But I have good news in that there is very often one simple reason why this happens. And with a little bit of digging around and investigation and building a little bit of an added something into your business, you can actually nip this in the bud and stop all of those amazing potential new customers from slipping through the net. And the reason that this happens is because there is a risk. There is an element of risk or doubt in your customer's mind that you have either not addressed or not alleviated for them. And potentially what happens is the conversation's amazing, but when they stop and think about it, this nagging doubt keeps coming to the forefront of their mind, and that puts them off. So the challenge for you is to really think through, what does risk look like and feel like to your customer at that moment when they are making the decision about whether to come and buy from you? What is the perceived risk for them? Now, I will let you into a secret in that actually, more often than not, you already know what that risk is. It may be that right now you don't believe that you do know that, but almost always when I get my clients to start digging around into this, they have the answers already. So I will explain a little bit more, and then if you're still struggling at the end, I'm going to give you some tips on how to get under the skin of these customers and find the answer. So what does risk look like for your customer? Here are some of the typical, most common risks that we see and hear. What if it doesn't work? What if I spend all my money and I don't see a return? Am I just wasting my money? What if the connection isn't what I expect it to be and this just doesn't go to plan? So these are your absolute typical risks. Essentially, is this good value for money? Is it actually going to work? Is it the right thing for me and for my business? Now, I will give you my own example because I happen to know that there's two really big areas of perceived risk for my potential customers. And the first one is this the right connection and will it definitely work for them long term? And the second one is that there is a very high possibility that either they or somebody they know has invested some money into coaching in the past and be very disappointed by the results or by the complete lack of results, let's say. So I know that those are the two big risk factors for my potential customers. Is it the right connection? Does it actually deliver results? And are they going to be tied in the long term to something that's not really working? So the way that I deal with that is I address all of that head on. I very frequently talk to people about whether they have worked with other coaches in the past and how that's gone for them and what did work and what didn't work. So we'll have a very open conversation about anything that hasn't worked. And then obviously I'm looking to reassure them that working with me is different. But the biggest single thing that I do to alleviate that element of risk for my clients is that I make sure there are no long-term tie-ins and that every single client is always just on a 30 days rolling notice period. And the way that I explain that is that for me, that gives me skin in the game. So there's a real onus on me to make this work for them. So that actually removes a lot of that risk for the customer. So the fact that they know there's only ever a 30-day notice period and the fact that my business is essentially at risk if I don't deliver, that says to them, it builds confidence, it eliminates the risk and it makes them much more likely to buy. Now, the things to think about for you is, Do you know this risk already? What kind of objections or reasons have customers given you in the past for not going ahead when you genuinely thought they were going to? So really dig around and think about people you thought that were going to buy and decided not to. Or think about all the comments that you've had from people over the years about what you do and how you do it, and the doubts and the niggles that you've heard from different people. But if you still have absolutely no idea of what you think your customer's perceived risk is, then the simple thing for you to do is ask. Now, you wouldn't necessarily go and ask a potential customer that, because they're not going to tell you at that moment in time, but ask a trusted network. So if you've got a great network of business people that you hang out with regularly, that you talk to on social media, ask them about it. If you're a member of a really good Facebook group, like the Business Growth Community, for instance, come and ask the group. If you're part of a business network, then go and ask. And if you're still struggling with all of that, if you still don't feel like you've got a network to ask, then ask your existing customers. Ask them, was there anything that almost put them off becoming a customer? Or ask them what doubts they had when they first started working with you. And just explain that you're trying to understand your customers as best as possible so that you can help as many as possible. And customers actually love the sort of opportunity to give you feedback like that and help you grow. So I would really encourage you to spend a little bit of time digging into this and really think about, what does your customer see as any kind of perceived risk of working with you, and how can you make sure that you openly address that either in your conversations or in your terms and conditions or just in the discussions or even on your website or whatever it is you do, but make sure that you actually cover this directly and quite openly, and that you address that risk for your customer. And then all those slippery little so-and-sos that try and sneak through the net will not get away in the future, and you can bring in lots more fabulous customers into your business. So hopefully that has helped you see how to bring more wonderful customers into your business. I would love to hear from you in the comments below about what here has hit home with you and anything you do differently. A like or a comment or a subscribe below would be amazing. And of course, please feel free to share this video with anybody else who you think it might help.